Hey, it's Dan, and you're watching the Salty Sea. Today I want to talk about brainstorming color schemes. I'm going to be honest, I don't have all the answers on this one. Part of why I'm recording here is I want to find out what you all do to decide on color schemes for your army or warband. Still, a few months ago I found something that works pretty well for me. I want to share it here, and I also want to talk a little bit about brainstorming as a whole on creative projects. So about a month ago, I picked up the Warcry Gloomspite Gits box and also the Zarbag's Underworlds warband. I wanted to get a little bit more ambitious with them, and Warcry is the perfect place to get into that a little harder. So is Kill Team, by the way. If you want to try to paint something that's going to be a little tougher for you than what you'd be willing to commit to 2,000 points of. Now, a lot of my earlier forces are heavily influenced by the box art, and I really wanted to get away from that. So I tried a brainstorming technique that worked really well for me when painting my 1,000-point Sylvaneth army for AOS. And so I'm going to share it in this video and then do a couple live examples so you can see exactly how it works. I loaded up some Squig Hopper pictures into a program called Krita. It's a free art program with a bunch of really useful tools in it. I started with an initial idea to try to do some molten lava squigs, but then I wanted to explore a little further, and putting this many hoppers on the page gave me the freedom to loosen up. This is where I want to talk about brainstorming as an exercise, just in creative projects in general. Brainstorming is a word that gets thrown around quite a bit. It can be used to talk about anything that's just about coming up with ideas, but it can also actually be taken pretty seriously as a support piece for your art. Warhammer, yes, it is a hobby, it is a game that we all play, but at the end of the day, we are also doing art. I live in the Twin Cities. I'm probably not one of the 50 best painters in the city. I mean, this is a hotbed for creativity, but just because I'm not going to be putting out Golden Demon work doesn't mean I can't take it seriously. So one way to sort of take a rigorous approach to loosening up your head is to try to follow these 4 rules of brainstorming. Focus on getting as many ideas out there as you can. Shut up your inner critic. Don't let there are no bad ideas. Encourage wild, weird stuff, and then try to combine and improve upon them as you go along. First, I started with these sort of molten lava squigs, going with one that you can see is still pretty influenced by the box art. And then I tried a blue goblin, so it would be a complementary color, let's say, to the lava theme. And you can see I was really messy with how I did it, and that's fine for the brainstorming phase. Then I got into some other things. This is pretty similar to actually the color scheme of my Stormcast army, so you throw that one out right away, but that's okay. We're just kind of throwing stuff out there. I ended up getting to some color schemes that I think are really great, but I would want to try on a different army, not so much this one. Or ones that, honestly, like this one, just don't seem to really work at all, but that's okay. I ended up really liking this one as a creative idea. Gloomspite Worship the Bad Moon, and this color scheme represents the night sky with the bad moon in it, where the squigs are the yellow, bright yellow of the moon in their lore, and then the robes for the goblins are that sort of dusky night sky. Then I'm also going to try out this molten lava test model using sort of, let's say, icy goblins for complementary colors. So you can see how having a bunch of really terrible ideas ended up really reducing the number of test models I'm going to need to use. I'm only going to need to try to paint 2 things, and then one of them I'll probably end up going with. I want to show you this live using the Mind Stealer Spheranx, a really iconic model for Warcry. I'm going to start by taking a screenshot. Now, you can do this using MS Paint, but it's really hard to do a whole bunch at once, and I really want to set myself up for success so that I can just abandon one concept and move to another one if I'm not liking it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a new page. And on our new page, we're just going to paste the screenshot. We're going to leave all the colors just as is on the monitor. And then we're going to take our rectangle select tool and just grab the part we want. I'll just move it up into the corner. And then I'm just going to paste it a bunch of times. And then we're going to keep pasting until we've covered our screen with spheruses. Messing around with the layers can have a bit of a learning curve, so don't worry if you've got some messiness, like right here in the middle of the screen. As long as you can see your subject fine, it'll work perfectly for the next step. Then you're just going to go to Layer and you're going to flatten the image. And then you're going to create a new layer on top, and this is going to be the layer you draw in. Now we're all ready to get to work. So right away, I want to try that color scheme that I liked when I was doing the squig, but that didn't quite feel right for that army. So going from sort of a deep purple to then more of a magenta color. So we'll just pick a purple here. I think I'll do a pretty dark one. We're going to grab more of a paintbrush type of brush, and then just color it in. I don't worry too much about whether I'm perfectly in the lines or what that's looking like. I just want to get the color in. Now the base gold complements purple pretty well, but I want to branch out a little bit to see if we can find some things that are different from the box. So I'm going to see, what if we had sort of a metallic teal? So now right away there's some things I really like about this and some things I don't like. So I can just iterate on the next one. So I've mocked up this purple gradient again. So now I want to try sort of a split complementary. So if yellow is the opposite of purple, then what if we go sort of a yellowish orange and then a yellowish green to do the hair and then I like how the horns and the gold plates are sort of a similar color in the main drawing. So I'm going to try having them be pretty similar here. So I'm going to try first doing a sort of orange. So I would start with the hair. So I'm not sure I got to the place I wanted with the purple coat and then the other accents with that one, but that's okay. We're just going to keep it moving. I'm going to try just a totally different coat color with this one. So let's try sort of more of a gold lioness kind of look. So putting in a more naturalistic coat seems to work pretty well. So now let's try getting sort of a little crazier with some of the accent colors. So I like where that's going, even if I don't know if I love the ice blue and the purple right next to each other. Now, two of the forces I've got are Slaanesh and also Khorne. So now I'm going to try out one that incorporates both Slanesh purple and corn red somewhere in the paint scheme, and we'll see how that goes. So I ended up taking 3 cracks at it. The first one here with the Slanesh purple hide with the big red horns. And then I decided to go the other way and go super colorful with the red body and then the purple accents, and then using sort of gold with verdigris, hopefully to kind of give it some balance. Then I went and tried to combine the concepts of the naturalistic coat with the red and purple. And it worked okay, and I don't mind it, but I don't think I'm going to go with that. I think I'm going to move on and try to iterate again. I think I've gone as far as I'm going to go with combining corn and Slanesh, and so now I'm going to try another one with the naturalistic coat. So now that I'm here, I can't let go of at least trying to make it fit with my Slanesh demons. So I'm going to try a mix of cool and warm purples on the horns and on the braids here. There we go. I actually really like how that turned out. I'd probably keep the armor plates silver to keep it neutral in the sort of yellow and purple balance here. Next I'm going to try something completely different. I think I need to switch it up quite a bit. So I'm going to try to make a northern Mind Stealer Sphinx. So I'm going to look up a lynx and a gray wolf and then make a coat based on those. I'll show you the reference photos in a minute. Then once I've done that, I'll use the braids and tail to make a slightly exaggerated version of the same coat, and I'll use the horns to go full fantasy. So honestly, I'm kind of surprised at how much I ended up liking this. I didn't expect the two-tone fur to really work as well as it did, with sort of warms and colds going on in it. You can see I didn't really try that much anywhere in my other brainstorms, so this is why it can be really helpful to try a real-life image as a reference point. I don't know if I would really go with the fiery orange horns or not, but it's just something to try out. So now I've gone and finished out my last 3 examples. One of them I tried, if you've ever seen the movie Sin City, where they have the sort of grayscale plus red, I tried that out. Then I went for a sort of psychedelic greens that I didn't like at all, but that's the point of the brainstorm. Then there's an artist I admire who does a lot of magic cards. His name is Seb McKinnon. So I tried just taking a card that he did once and then just taking the color palette from that card and just going straight onto the Sphinx. And I like it quite a bit. So then this session has sort of gotten me actually 4 different ones that I am a pretty big fan of. I like this, the second corn plus Slanesh mashup that I did right here. And then I also like these 3, some of my last ones. And so this is why I really advocate trying to do a whole bunch of them and staying really loose the whole time, because none of my first 4 ideas ended up being among my favorites. So that's it for my Mind Stealer mockups. I actually had just as much fun doing this as I usually have painting. It's especially helpful for a project like this one, where I won't have the luxury of a test model. So let me know in the comments how you do it. Do you usually go by one of the battle tome schemes, or do you have a color combo in mind before you even buy the models? I can't wait to find out, so drop a line, and until next time, may all your rolls be crits.